So, have you ever really thought about the hidden side of big political events? You know, the ones we read about or even the ones happening now?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely hear about the big speeches, the major outcomes.
Right, the headlines. But what about the actual cost on the ground for the ordinary people who are just there?
It's true, you get caught up in the powerful figures and the decisions. But there's always this unseen impact, isn't there? And it often falls on the people who can least handle it.
Exactly. And that's what we're digging into today in this deep dive. We're actually going back quite a way, back to August 1179,
Okay.
to this tiny German village, Kenna. It was the location for an imperial diet, a Reichstag.
A Reichstag in a small village. Interesting.
Yeah. And we've got some great material to work with. There are excerpts from politics then and now, the Kenner Reichstag impact, and also a YouTube transcript from Volker Thurm. He really gets into the tiny details.
Ah, Thurm, yes. He does excellent work on uncovering those kind of day-to-day realities of historical events.
Absolutely. So our mission really is to unpack what high politics actually looked like back in the 12th century.
And how it hit a place like Kaina.
Exactly. The impact on the villagers. And maybe see if there are any, surprising connections to today.
Right. It's about seeing history maybe through the eyes of the people footing the bill, so to speak.
Yeah, the ones who bore the brunt. So, okay, let's set the scene. August 1179, Emperor Barbarossa calls the princes together in Kaina.
Mm-hmm.
But Kaina, it wasn't exactly a major imperial center, was it?
No, not at all. The source material, it clarifies Kaina was mainly a small hunting lodge, a false. Barbarossa used it when he was in the area specifically to hunt.
Right, maybe just for a few days, usually?
Yeah, his main base was Altenburg. So choosing Kaina for a full Reichstag, that's significant. You have to think about the logistics in the 12th century.
Oh, totally. Just getting there. The roads apparently were awful, mostly just raised paths because the valleys were really swampy, almost unusable.
The travel itself was a massive challenge.
Huge. And then the preparations. Volker Thurm mentions all the messengers sent out across the entire realm, just for the invitations.
And locally. In Kaina itself, they'd have had to scramble, finding places for everyone to stay, and, crucially, arranging food.
Food is a big one. Apparently, the local fishermen in Kaina started catching trout and crayfish and so on 6 weeks before the event.
6 weeks?
Yeah, storing them in special basins just to make sure the emperor's table had enough.
6 weeks of fishing prep. And it was August, you said?
Yes, right in the middle of harvest. That's the crazy part. Instead of getting their own crops in, which was vital,
they're catching fish and getting ready to host the emperor and assist with hunts.
their most important time of year completely thrown off course.
That really speaks to the opportunity cost, even back then, diverting essential labor for the needs of the elite.
So mid-August, everyone finally manages to arrive, and the Reichstag officially begins.
Okay, so what was the daily routine like? That's often revealing.
It really is. The sources say the High Lords were woken up at 5 a.m.
Ouch. Early start.
Then by 6 a.m., they were already in the false church in Kaina for morning mass.
Okay, religious observance first thing.
Then after mass, straight to breakfast. Lavish tables, multiple courses apparently. They usually finished eating just before noon.
Just before noon. That's a long breakfast.
Right. And then guess what? Off to midday mass.
Another mass. Okay.
And after midday mass,
Don't tell me. More food.
another meal, midday meal, served at the castle in Pfalz. So a big chunk of the morning is just eating in church.
Wow. So when do they actually do the political work?
Only after that second meal finished, the actual meeting started in the afternoon.
Okay. And what was the big issue on the table?
The main thing was Heinrich the Lion, Duke Henry. He'd refused to back Barbarossa in Italy against the northern Italian cities.
Yes, which led to a pretty significant defeat for the Emperor Legnano.
Exactly. So Heinrich was summoned to Kaina basically to face condemnation.
Right, to answer for his actions or lack thereof.
And here's the kicker. He didn't even turn up.
He didn't come. Seriously.
Nope. So they spent the afternoon debating and judging him while he wasn't even there.
Huh. So deliberations in absentia.
Pretty much. And then, get this, the session just stops abruptly before 6 p.m.
What, time for dinner?
Nope. Evening mass. Punctually at 6 p.m., everyone had to troop back to the church for almost another hour.
Okay, so mass, breakfast, mass, lunch, politics, mass. What happens after evening mass?
Then came the main event, food-wise, the evening meal, a 7-course feast.
7 courses.
Yeah, boiled, roasted, cooked, They ate as much as they could handle, is how it sounds.
Good breeze.
The 7th course was cheese. The source even mentions the phrase, cheese closes the stomach. And specifically, Wurtwitzer Milbingkäse.
Wait, cheese. Really?
Yeah, apparently it was a practical way to preserve milk or curd back then, without modern refrigeration. Made locally.
Fascinating detail. Okay, 7 courses, mass. Surely that's it for the day.
You'd think, but no. Around midnight. Time for midnight mass.
Midnight mass, too.
Another hour in the church. Only after that, finally, could they go to bed.
That is an absolutely grueling schedule, packed with prayer and feasting. Doesn't leave much room for governing, does it?
Very little, it seems. The next day, they had a short session, passed the resolution condemning Heinrich in his absence, summoned him to the next Reichstag.
Where he was eventually outlawed, yes. The imperial ban.
Right. But let's bring it back to the village. What was happening to the Cana locals during all this feasting and debating?
It couldn't have been easy hosting all this.
Definitely not. For entertainment, on day 2, they scheduled a drive hunt in the afternoon.
A hunt, okay.
And guess who had to be the beaters? All the local farmers, craftsmen, servants, basically forced labor.
So pulled away from their fields again.
Again, left their essential work sitting idle just to drive game for the nobles.
And Cana was known for its forests, wasn't it? A banned forest.
Exactly. Prime hunting ground. So the hunt went on until just before evening mass again, which meant the farmers were wiped out. No way they could finish their own day's work.
Completely disrupting their own survival, essentially.
And the numbers involved. The sources talk about more than half a dozen princes, maybe 100 monks.
100 monks. Where do they all stay?
In a huge tent city, apparently, in an area still known today as Monk's Hole. Monk's Hollow, basically.
Wow. So nobles feasting inside, monks eating game in their tents.
Right. And there's even physical evidence, sort of, in the 1950s when they built houses near old sleeping sites like the Caner Kuhstall.
The Cana cowshed.
Yeah, and Frauenleit. They found lots of animal bones and old fire pits from that time.
Archaeological traces. Of course, no photos from 1179 or even 1954, likely.
No. Our knowledge really comes from one key document and the research of a historian named Trubenbach from the 1860s.
Right, piecing it together from limited sources.
So, okay, the Reichstag ends, the guests eventually leave. What happens to Cana?
Life returns to normal.
Slowly. Very slowly. The village needed almost 2.5 years to fully recover from this visit.
2.5 years, seriously, from a few days' event.
That's what the sources suggest. All their stored food cellars, vaults, completely cleaned out. Empty.
Down to the last crumb, as they say.
The farmers were just glad it was harvest time so they could try and scrape something together to survive the winter.
Wow. And you can bet they were praying no more royalty decided to visit Canina anytime soon.
Absolutely. And just to give you the scale here, Cana and its surrounding hamlets had maybe 250 people living there total.
Okay, fine.
And they hosted around 1,200 invited guests, plus maybe 50 or 60 extra servants helping out.
So guests outnumbered locals by, 5 to 1?
At least, descending on this tiny community, completely upending their lives.
It really throws into sharp relief that burden we talked about earlier, the sheer weight on the local population. That contrast between the lavish consumption at the top and the absolute depletion for the villagers.
Yes.
Years of recovery needed.
It's such a stark image.
And it's not just a medieval curiosity. You can see echoes today, can't you? Big summits, major events, the security costs, the disruption, the resources diverted, often absorbed by the host city or community.
Yeah, the hidden costs that don't make the main news story.
Exactly. Whether it's a G7 meeting or even large-scale disaster relief efforts, sometimes local resources get stretched thin, local needs get sidelined.
2.5 years recovery. It really makes you pause. That's not just an inconvenience. It's a huge long-term impact on ordinary lives. Totally invisible to the people attending the main event. The source material itself points this out, doesn't it? Saying something like, the costumes change, the setting changes.
But the basic dynamic, where the little person bears the cost while others get the glory, that stays surprisingly consistent. It's quite a powerful observation, even from a 12th century event.
It really is. It makes you think.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. Reflecting on Cana, this slice of medieval life, what might be the unseen impacts, the quiet costs of the big events happening around us right now, the ones we rarely stop to tally up?